The alarm blared through the quiet monitoring station nestled in the mountains of Colorado. Red lights flashed as computers processed the unusual data streaming in from the deep space array. Commander Tom Walker rushed into the control room, his coffee splashing onto the floor. "What have we got?" he asked, leaning over the main console where Dr. Lisa Reed was typing rapidly. "Something near Jupiter's orbit," she said without looking up. "The signal pattern is unlike anything we've ever recorded. It's structured, too regular to be natural." Tom studied the screen, his brow furrowing. The readouts showed energy signatures that pulsed in a distinct pattern. After 20 years at Deep Space Monitoring Station Alpha, he had seen his share of cosmic oddities, but this was different. Could it be a malfunction? He asked, though he already suspected the answer. Lisa shook her head. "We've confirmed it with 3 separate arrays. Something is out there, Tom. Something that doesn't belong in our solar system." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The other technicians had stopped their work to listen. For years, humanity had sent signals into the depths of space hoping for a response. Now it seemed someone had answered. "Get me a direct line to Space Command," Tom ordered, "and prepare the enhanced scanning protocols. I want to know everything about whatever's out there." Within hours, the station was buzzing with activity. Military personnel arrived, along with government officials in dark suits who spoke in hushed tones. The discovery had been classified immediately, but rumors were already spreading. 3 days of intensive monitoring revealed more details. The objects, there were 7 of them, were in stationary positions around Jupiter's moons. They emitted energy signatures that suggested advanced propulsion systems far beyond Earth's current technology. "They're watching us," Lisa said during a briefing with military leaders. She pointed to a simulation showing the object's positioning. "These aren't random placements. They're positioned to monitor all traffic between Earth and the outer planets." General Harris, a stern-faced man with gray hair, leaned forward. "Are they a threat?" Tom exchanged a glance with Lisa before answering. "We don't know yet. But they haven't made any aggressive moves. In fact," he hesitated. "What is it, Commander?" the general prompted. "They seem to be waiting for something, possibly for us to contact them." The decision to attempt communication was not made lightly. World leaders debated for days while scientists prepared a message that would demonstrate humanity's peaceful intentions while conveying basic mathematical and scientific principles, a universal language. When the message was finally sent, the response came almost immediately, too quickly. "They were ready for us," Lisa whispered as the alien transmission was decoded. "They've been studying our communications for some time." The message was simple but chilling in its implications. "We see you. We will come. Prepare." Within a week, one of the objects had left Jupiter's orbit and was moving toward Earth. Panic spread through government circles, but the object's trajectory suggested it would enter Earth orbit rather than impact the planet. "They're sending an envoy," Tom suggested during an emergency meeting at the United Nations Space Council. This could be first contact. Representatives from every space-capable nation had gathered in New York. The atmosphere was tense, filled with both fear and excitement. "We should prepare our defenses," said the Russian delegate. "These visitors may not come in peace." "Or we could welcome them as friends," countered the representative from India. "This could be the greatest moment in human history." As the delegates argued, Lisa analyzed new data from the approaching vessel. "There's something odd about their propulsion system," she told Tom privately. "It's generating waste energy that's being deliberately vented toward Earth, almost like..." "Like what?" Tom asked. "Like they're scanning us. Every city, every military installation, they're mapping everything." The alien vessel entered Earth orbit exactly 14 days after first detection. It positioned itself above the Pacific Ocean, visible as a bright star even in daylight. Then it sent another message. "We are the Graen. We come to evaluate. Stand ready." The message was broadcast simultaneously on every electronic device on Earth, in all languages. Panic gave way to awe as people around the world looked to the sky. The United Nations hastily assembled a welcome committee comprised of scientists, diplomats, and military observers. Tom and Lisa were among those selected to make first contact. "I never thought I'd be meeting aliens when I signed up for space monitoring," Tom said as they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the International Space Station, where the meeting would take place. Lisa smiled nervously. "I always hoped, but now that it's happening," she left the thought unfinished. The Graen ambassador arrived in a small craft that docked with perfect precision. When the airlock opened, humanity had its first glimpse of an alien species. The Graen stood nearly 7 feet tall, with smooth, gray skin that seemed to shimmer. 4 arms extended from a torso that tapered to a narrow waist. The face was almost human-like, with large pupilless eyes that reflected like mirrors. "We greet you in peace," said the head of the UN delegation. The Graen tilted its head, studying them. When it spoke, the voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Peace is a luxury of the powerful," it said. "You are not powerful, but you may be useful." The word sent a chill through the gathered humans. Tom noticed Lisa frowning as she studied readings on her tablet. "Their biology is incredible," she whispered. "But these energy readings coming from their suit, they match the scanning patterns we detected." The Graen continued, explaining that they represented an interstellar alliance of species that had existed for thousands of years. Earth was being considered for membership, a great honor, they were told. "We will observe your world. We will evaluate your worth. Prepare to receive our assessment team." After the Graen returned to their ship, the human delegation was left with more questions than answers. As they returned to Earth, Tom pulled Lisa aside. "What do you think?" he asked. Lisa's expression was troubled. "They're hiding something. Did you notice how they avoided all questions about their alliance's structure? And that comment about peace?" Tom nodded. "I noticed. We need to be careful here." As they looked out the shuttle window at the alien ship gleaming in orbit, Tom couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just entered a dangerous game, one whose rules they didn't yet understand. Back on Earth, as night fell over the monitoring station, new signals were detected. More Graen ships were entering the solar system. The discovery had only just begun, and already Earth's future hung in the balance. 3 weeks after first contact, Earth's skies had changed. Graen vessels hung in orbit like new stars, visible even in daylight. The initial fear had given way to an uneasy acceptance as the aliens established what they called observation posts in major cities around the world. Dr. Lisa Reed hunched over her terminal in the secure underground lab that had been hastily established beneath the Colorado monitoring station. Her eyes burned from staring at screens for hours, analyzing data from the Graen communications. "Found anything new?" Commander Tom Walker asked, placing a cup of coffee beside her. Lisa rubbed her eyes. "Yes, and I don't like it. Look at these transmission patterns." She pointed to a series of graphs showing signal bursts between the Graen ships. "They're reporting back to someone, a lot. And the data packages are huge, far larger than needed for simple status updates." Tom frowned. "What do you think they're sending?" "Scans. Detailed scans of everything. Our technology, military capabilities, resource locations." She pulled up another screen. "And look at this. I've been comparing their public statements with their internal communications that we've managed to intercept." The screen showed 2 columns of text with key phrases highlighted. "They keep telling us they're here to evaluate us for membership, but in their private communications, they use terms that translate more accurately to assessment for utilization." Tom's expression darkened. "That doesn't sound like they're looking for partners." "It gets worse," Lisa said, lowering her voice even though they were alone. "Major Stone from Intelligence sent this over an hour ago." She pulled up an image showing a Graen meeting with representatives from the United Nations. The picture had been enhanced to show a holographic display visible only on the Graen side of the table. "They're categorizing Earth's regions by resource value," Tom said slowly. "Those numbers, they're calculating extraction potentials." The door to the lab slid open and Major Jack Stone entered. The military intelligence officer carried himself with the rigid posture of someone who rarely relaxed. Today, his normally stern face looked grim. "I see Dr. Reed has shown you our latest finding," he said. "We've got more." He inserted a secure drive into Lisa's terminal. A series of images appeared, satellite photos of the dark side of the moon. "What am I looking at?" Tom asked. "Construction. The Graen are building something on the far side of the moon. We only caught it because one of our deep space probes happened to be positioned correctly." Lisa zoomed in on the images. "Those look like weapon platforms." "That's our assessment too," Stone confirmed. "And there's more. We've decoded some of their databases. The Graen have done this before. Many times." He pulled up a star map with dozens of highlighted systems. Each of these marks a civilization that was invited to join the Alliance. "Notice anything about the most recent ones?" Lisa studied the map. "No outgoing communications. They're silent." "Exactly. Once the Graen incorporate a world into their alliance, all independent communications cease. They control everything." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. "They're not building an alliance. They're building an empire. And we're next on their list," Stone added. The three sat in silence for a moment, the weight of the discovery heavy on their shoulders. "We need to bring this to the Security Council," Tom finally said. "The world needs to know what we're really dealing with." 2 days later, Earth's United Space Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from all nations attended, along with military leaders and scientific advisors. The mood was tense as Tom, Lisa, and Major Stone presented their findings. "The evidence is clear," Stone concluded. "The Graken's intentions are not peaceful cooperation but systematic exploitation. Their history suggests they will strip our resources and likely relocate significant portions of our population to serve their needs elsewhere." The council chamber erupted in heated discussion. Some nations were already benefiting from limited Graken technology exchanges and argued for continued cooperation. Others demanded immediate action. After hours of debate, the vote was nearly unanimous. Earth would issue a formal warning to the Graken to cease all activities that could be interpreted as preparations for resource extraction or military action. The Graken representative was summoned to receive Earth's message. The tall alien stood impassively as the council president read the formal statement. "We value peaceful exchange between our peoples, but we have evidence of activities inconsistent with your stated purposes. Earth demands an immediate halt to all unauthorized construction in our solar system and full disclosure of your intentions. We warn you that humanity will defend itself if threatened." The Graken's reflective eyes showed no emotion. When it spoke, its voice carried a hint of amusement. "Your concerns are noted. They are, however, misplaced. Primitive species often mistake preparation for aggression." The alien turned to address the entire council. "Your world is small. Your understanding is limited. The Alliance offers protection and advancement. Resistance offers nothing but delay." After the Graken left, Major Stone slammed his fist on the table. "They're not even trying to hide it anymore. They think we're too weak to stop them." "Perhaps we are," said the French representative. "Their technology is far beyond ours." Lisa, who had been quiet throughout the exchange, finally spoke up. "Maybe not as far as they think." All eyes turned to her. "For weeks I've been analyzing their communications and technology. They're advanced, yes, but they're also arrogant. They don't encrypt their transmissions well because they don't believe we can intercept them. They don't hide their intentions because they don't think we can stop them." She pulled up a series of technical specifications on the main display. "We've learned more about advanced propulsion, energy weapons, and shield technology in 3 weeks than we would have discovered in 50 years on our own. And we've been making our own advances they know nothing about." Major Stone nodded slowly. "Project Mothership." The room fell silent at the mention of the classified program. "What exactly is Project Mothership?" asked the Chinese representative. Tom looked to the council president, who gave a slight nod. "Insurance," Tom said simply. "For the past 15 years, Earth's nations have been secretly cooperating on a defensive measure of last resort. A vessel, unlike anything humanity has built before. Where is this vessel? Someone asked. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. Where they would never think to look. Outside the council chamber, night had fallen over New York. Above, the Graen ships glowed in the darkness. Unknown to the aliens, deep within secure facilities around the world, engineers and scientists began working around the clock. Project Mothership, once a contingency, was now being prepared for activation. In orbit, the Graen observed Earth's activities with growing interest. They had encountered resistance before, but never expected it from such a young species. They sent a message to their distant homeworld. Assessment proceeding, minor resistance encountered, submission expected within standard time frame. They could not have been more wrong. The Graen vessels multiplied in Earth's orbit with each passing day. What had started as 7 ships now numbered nearly 50, their sleek hulls glinting in the sunlight as they took positions around the planet. On the ground, their observation posts had expanded into small bases, always built in strategic locations near major resources or population centers. Commander Tom Walker stood before the United Space Council, his uniform crisp despite having slept only a few hours in the past, 3 days. The Graen are no longer pretending, he said, gesturing to the holographic display showing their positions. They've established a full blockade formation. Any ship trying to leave Earth's atmosphere must now request permission and accept Graen escorts. What about the Mars colony? Asked the representative from Brazil. Cut off, Tom replied grimly. We've lost direct communication. The Graen claim they're facilitating our exchanges, but we know they're filtering everything. Dr. Lisa Reed stepped forward, her usual lab coat replaced by a formal suit for this high-level meeting. We've decoded more of their communications, she said. They're discussing what they call population management scenarios, based on similar patterns from other worlds they've conquered. This means relocation of humans to labor operations on other planets. The room filled with angry murmurs. 2 months ago, such statements would have seemed like science fiction. Now they were facing a grim reality. Major Jack Stone activated the room's secure mode, which created an electromagnetic shield against any possible eavesdropping, alien or otherwise. We need to make our move soon, he said once the security lights turned green. The mothership is nearly ready, but the Graen are accelerating their timeline. Their fleet movements suggest they're preparing for the next phase. The council president nodded. We need more information about their immediate plans. Commander Walker, I believe you proposed a mission? Tom straightened. Yes, Madam President. The Graen have invited Earth representatives to tour what they call their command vessel. They claim it's a gesture of goodwill to demonstrate their peaceful technology. I propose we accept, but use it as an opportunity to gather critical intelligence. It could be a trap, warned the Russian representative. Almost certainly, Tom agreed, but it's also our best chance to learn their weaknesses before they strike. 3 days later, Tom led a small delegation to the massive Graen vessel that had positioned itself directly above the North Atlantic. The alien shuttle that carried them had no windows, leaving the humans disoriented as they felt the craft dock. With the larger ship, the Graen escort, taller than the others they had seen, led them through corridors lined with strange pulsing technology. The air smelled of ozone and something else. Something alien. You see our peaceful intentions, the Graen said, its voice resonating oddly in the metallic passageway. We open our home to you. Tom noticed how carefully controlled their tour was. Certain doorways were clearly off-limits, and their path seemed prearranged to show only specific areas. What powers your vessels? He asked, trying to sound merely curious. Energy you cannot yet comprehend, the Graen replied dismissively. Lisa, who had insisted on joining the mission despite the risks, was scanning discreetly with a device hidden in her sleeve. She caught Tom's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod. The sensors were working. As they passed a junction, Tom pretended to stumble, bumping into the wall. In the moment of confusion, Lisa slipped a tiny device into a seam in the corridor's paneling. My apologies, Tom said to their escort. Your artificial gravity takes some getting used to. The Graen stared at him with those reflective eyes. Yes, many species find adaptation difficult. The tour continued through what appeared to be living quarters and scientific labs. Everything seemed designed to impress the humans with Graen superiority while revealing nothing of real value. Until the accident. A sudden lurch shook the vessel, throwing everyone against the walls. Alarms began blaring, not the controlled demonstration the Graen had planned, but something genuine. In the chaos, Tom noticed a previously sealed door had slid partly open. Through the gap he could see what was unmistakably a weapons bay. Massive cannons, far larger than anything their escort had shown them, were being prepared for deployment. The Graen moved quickly to reseal the door, but Tom had seen enough. He exchanged glances with Lisa, who had also noticed. A minor systems adjustment, their escort explained smoothly. Nothing of concern. The rest of the tour was cut short, and the humans were quickly returned to Earth. As their shuttle descended, through the atmosphere, no one spoke. They all knew what they had seen. Back at the secure facility in Colorado, Lisa downloaded the data from her hidden sensors while Tom reported to the Space Council via secure channel. They're lying about everything, he concluded. The weapons we saw weren't defensive, they were planet killers. And according to Dr. Reed's scans, they're preparing for full deployment. Lisa looked up from her computer. It's worse than that. I managed to access a small portion of their command systems during that alarm. They've already designated Earth's major cities as primary targets. They're planning to hit our power grids first, then military installations. Major Stone's face was stone-like as he processed this information. How long do we have? Lisa's expression was grim. Days, not weeks. The council president made the decision they had all been preparing for. Initiate Project Mothership, full activation protocol. Across the globe, hidden facilities hummed with activity. Deep beneath the world's oceans, in mountain bunkers and in secret desert installations, the components of humanity's last hope were being finalized. That night, major cities around the world experienced sudden power outages. The Graen had begun their first phase, testing Earth's vulnerabilities. When power was restored hours later, the Graen representative addressed the United Nations. We regret the inconvenience your people experienced, the alien said without a hint of regret in its voice. Your power systems are primitive and unstable. The Alliance offers its protection and technology in exchange for unrestricted access to your planet's resources. This is a generous offer. The alternative would be unfortunate. It was an ultimatum, thinly disguised as diplomacy. The UN Secretary-General stood to respond. Humanity appreciates your offer, but we must decline. Earth's resources belong to Earth. We request that you remove your vessels from our orbit immediately. The Graen's reflective eyes showed nothing. You misunderstand. This was not a negotiation. As the alien departed, emergency alerts began sounding across the planet. More power grids were failing. Communications networks crashed. It was a demonstration of power, a taste of what would follow if Earth continued to resist. In the secure bunker beneath Colorado, Tom, Lisa, and Major Stone watched the situation deteriorate on monitors. It's time, Stone said quietly. Tom nodded and picked up a secure phone. This is Commander Walker. Authorization Omega-7 Delta. Commence Operation Awakening. Across the room, Lisa activated a special terminal that had remained dormant until now. On the screen, a simple message appeared. Mothership systems engaging. Primary power online. 240,000 miles away, on the far side of the moon, something enormous began to stir. The Graen ultimatum had expired. Earth had 24 hours to submit, and that time was now gone. In orbit, the alien vessels moved into attack formation, their weapon systems powering up as they targeted Earth's major defense installations. Indy, the command bunker beneath Colorado, Commander Tom Walker, Dr. Lisa Reed, and Major Jack Stone stood before a wall of monitors displaying the unfolding crisis. Military leaders and government officials from around the world joined via secure channels, their faces grim with the knowledge of what was about to happen. All Graen vessels are in position, reported a technician. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding our immediate surrender. The time for talking is over, Major Stone said. They never intended to negotiate. This was always going to end in either our submission or a fight. The President of the United States appeared on the main screen. Commander Walker, is Project IAD? Mothership ready? Tom straightened his uniform. Yes, Madam President. All systems are operational. Crew is standing by. Then you have my authorization. God help us all. Tom nodded to Lisa, who entered a series of commands into her terminal. On the screen, a countdown appeared. 5, 4:59, 4:58. What will the Graen do when they see it? Someone asked. Panic, I hope, Stone replied with a grim smile. Lisa's fingers flew over her keyboard. Transmitting activation codes to all global stations now. Mothership power at 60% and rising. As the countdown continued, Tom addressed the assembled leaders. For 15 years, while we explored space peacefully, we prepared for the possibility that we might not be alone, and that what we found might not be friendly. Project Mothership was our insurance policy. How could we have built something that could challenge the Graen? Asked the Chinese premier. Their technology is far beyond ours, Stone smiled, not entirely beyond. In 2029, something crashed in the Pacific Ocean. What we recovered gave us a technological leap forward of at least a century. We've been reverse engineering and improving upon it ever since. And the Graen know nothing about it? Asked the German Chancellor. Nothing, Lisa confirmed. We kept it completely compartmentalized. No digital records, no satellites involved in the recovery, no electronic trail. Just paper, isolated systems, and people we could trust absolutely. The countdown reached 1. Mothership power at full capacity, Lisa announced. All systems. Ready? Tom picked up a secure phone. This is Commander Walker to Mothership Control. Execute emergence protocol. Authorization. Earth stands. On screens around the world, people watched in awe as something impossible began to happen. The surface of the moon, the dark side that faced away from Earth, began to crack. Fissures spread across the lunar surface, dust and debris floating upward in the airless environment. In orbit, the Graen vessels paused their attack preparations as their sensors detected the massive energy surge coming from the moon. Several ships broke formation to investigate the phenomenon. They've noticed, Stone said with satisfaction. Too late. The fractures on the lunar surface widened, and then, slowly at first but with gathering speed, something emerged from within the moon itself. A massive structure, sleek and deadly, pushed upward through the lunar crust. It rose higher and higher until it hovered above the cratered surface. Earth's mothership had awakened. The vessel dwarfed anything the Graen had deployed. Its surface gleamed with a silvery blue light, and engines larger than entire cities pulsed with energy. What had been hidden within the moon for years was now revealed. Humanity's greatest technological achievement. My God, breathed one of the military generals. It's beautiful. In the Graen command vessel, General Dorn stared at the readings with disbelief. The sensor data couldn't be correct. The primitive humans couldn't possibly have built something of this scale and power. Yet there it was, rising from the moon, its energy signatures unlike anything in the Graen database. All vessels attack formation, Dorn commanded. Target the human construct, full weapons discharge. The Graen fleet responded immediately, repositioning to face this new threat. Energy weapons charged, missiles were armed, and shields went to maximum power. Back in the bunker, Tom turned to Lisa. Time to show them what we can do. Lisa nodded and opened a channel to the mothership. This is control to mothership. You are cleared for command transfer. Repeat, you are cleared for command transfer. A new voice responded over the speakers, strong and confident. This is mothership. Command transfer acknowledged. Bridge is ready to receive primary command team. Tom looked at the others. This is it. Dr. Reed and I will transfer to the mothership. Major Stone, You'll coordinate ground operations. Stone nodded grimly. Good hunting. Within minutes, Tom and Lisa were aboard a special transport craft, launching from a hidden facility in the mountains. The small vessel accelerated at speeds that would have been impossible with conventional technology, streaking toward the moon. As they approached, the true scale of the mothership became apparent. The vessel was over 5 miles long, with multiple layers of armor and weapon systems visible along its hull. A hangar bay opened to receive their transport, swallowing it effortlessly. When they emerged onto the bridge, they found it humming with activity. Crew members who had trained for years in secret facilities around the world operated advanced systems with practiced efficiency. The bridge itself was a marvel of technology, with holographic displays and control systems that responded to thought as well as touch. "Commander on deck," announced the officer in charge. Tom stepped forward, surveying what was now his command. "Status report. All systems operational, sir. Shields at full capacity. Weapons systems armed and ready. The Graen fleet is moving. To engage." Tom took his position in the command chair. "Open a channel to all Graen vessels." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Tom's voice was steady as he delivered humanity's message. "Attention Graen forces. This is Commander Tom Walker of Earth's United Defense Fleet. Your vessels are in violation of Earth space. You were warned. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." On the main screen, General Dorn's alien face appeared, reflective eyes burning with anger. "This deception changes nothing, human. Your vessel, impressive as it may be, cannot stand against the might of the Graen Alliance. Surrender, now, and we may yet be merciful." Tom looked to Lisa, who had taken her position at the science station. She nodded, confirming what they had suspected. The Graen were afraid. "We will not surrender," Tom replied calmly. "Earth has chosen freedom. This is your final warning." Dorn's face contorted with rage. "Then you have chosen extinction. All vessels, open fire." The space between the moon and Earth lit up as dozens of Graen ships launched their attack. Energy beams and plasma torpedoes streaked toward the mothership. Tom remained calm. "Defensive countermeasures. Non-lethal demonstration protocol." The mothership's shields absorbed the Graen assault without visible effort. Then, with precision that stunned even its human creators, the vessel fired a series of pulses that enveloped one Graen battle group after another. The alien ships didn't explode or break apart. Instead, they simply went dark, their systems completely neutralized, left drifting harmlessly in space. General Dorn's face showed shock for the first time. "What have you done?" "We disabled your ships without destroying them," Tom explained. "Your crews are unharmed. We could have destroyed them and you, but that's not who we are." Lisa stepped forward. "We warned you, General. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war. The choice is yours." Dorn's reflective eyes narrowed as he considered this unexpected development. Around him, his officers reported more bad news. The humans had deployed a defensive grid throughout their solar system, and more Earth vessels were emerging from hidden locations. The tide had turned. The hunters had become the hunted. And the Graen suddenly found themselves facing something they had not encountered in centuries, an opponent who might actually defeat them. The stars seemed unnaturally bright from the observation deck of Earth's mothership. Commander Tom Walker stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching as the disabled Graen vessels were towed into holding positions by smaller Earth craft. It had been 3 days since the mothership's dramatic emergence from its lunar hiding place, and the immediate threat had been neutralized. But Tom knew it wasn't over. "They're sending a distress call," Dr. Lisa Reed said, as she joined him at the viewport. "Our long-range sensors just picked it up. Encoded transmission directed toward the Graen home system." Tom nodded. He had expected this. "How long until their reinforcements arrive?" "Based on the communication patterns, we estimate 2 weeks, maybe less if they have faster ships waiting at the edge of our solar system." The door to the observation deck slid open, and Major Jack Stone entered, his face showing signs of fatigue, after coordinating Earth's ground defenses nonstop. The defense grid is at 80% deployment, he reported. We've got coverage of all major approach vectors to Earth, and the Mars colony is now protected as well. Tom turned from the viewport. And the prisoners? General Dorn is being cooperative in his own way, Stone replied with a hint of a smile. He's still shocked that primitives managed to outmaneuver the mighty Graen alliance. Lisa pulled up a holographic display showing the solar system. Small blue dots represented Earth's newly revealed defense platforms, while red markers indicated the projected approach of Graen reinforcements. We need to use these 2 weeks wisely, she said. The Mothership gives us an advantage, but the Graen will adapt. They'll analyze what happened and develop countermeasures. Tom nodded. Then we need to keep surprising them. He turned to Stone. What have we learned from the captured ships? Their technology is advanced, but not as advanced as they led us to believe, Stone said. Much of their power comes from numbers and intimidation. They've conquered so many worlds that most species surrender before putting up a real fight. In other words, they're bullies, Lisa added. And no one stood up to them in a long time. Tom smiled. Until now. The next 2 weeks passed in a flurry of activity. Earth's nations, once divided by politics and borders, united fully under the threat of invasion. The Mothership became the center of operations, with additional crew arriving daily to man its sophisticated systems. Lisa led a team of scientists in studying the captured Graen technology, making breakthroughs that would have taken decades, under normal circumstances. Each discovery was immediately implemented into Earth's defenses. Tom spent hours in tactical meetings, developing strategies based on what they now knew about Graen warfare. The aliens relied heavily on overwhelming force and psychological intimidation, tactics that wouldn't work against an enemy who refused to be cowed. On the 14th day, the sensors lit up. The Graen reinforcements had arrived. A fleet 3 times larger than the first wave. They're taking position near Jupiter's orbit, reported the sensor officer. 137 vessels, including what appears to be their version of a dreadnought. Tom took his place in the command chair. All stations, battle readiness. Major Stone, is the defensive grid fully operational? Stone's face appeared on the communications screen. Yes, Commander. All platforms are online and awaiting your orders. Dr. Reed, what's the status of our special project? Lisa looked up from her console. Ready for deployment on your command. Tom nodded. Then it's time to make our move. He turned to the communications officer. Open a channel to the Graen fleet. The main screen flickered to life, revealing not General Dorn, but a larger, more imposing Graen. Its skin was darker, with markings that suggested higher rank or status. I am High Commander Krell of the Graen Alliance, the alien announced. Your resistance is noted but futile. The full might of our alliance now stands against you. Surrender your vessel and accept our terms or face extinction. Tom met the alien's reflective gaze without flinching. High Commander, we've heard these threats before. Your first fleet made the same claims right before we disabled their ships without firing a single lethal shot. Krell's face remained impassive. A temporary setback. We have studied your tactics and technology. Your advantage of surprise is gone. Is it? Tom asked calmly. You assume you know what we're capable of because you've seen one demonstration. That would be a dangerous assumption. Without waiting for a response, Tom gave the order. Execute Operation Starfall. Throughout the solar system, Earth's defense platforms activated simultaneously. But instead of firing weapons, they released thousands of small objects, each no larger than a baseball. These devices accelerated to incredible speeds, surrounding the Graen fleet in a 3-dimensional grid pattern. Krell's eyes narrowed. What is this? Some primitive attempt at a minefield? Lisa stepped forward. Not mines, High Commander, quantum displacement nodes. Technology we reverse-engineered from studying your ships but improved upon. As if on cue, the nodes activated. Space itself seemed to shimmer around the Graen vessels. Some of the alien ships suddenly found themselves miles from their previous positions, Their carefully planned formation shattered. Impossible, Krell hissed. You cannot have mastered spatial manipulation to this degree. We're full of surprises, Tom replied. And here's another one. Major Stone, you may proceed. The mothership's engines flared to life, but instead of conventional movement, the massive vessel simply vanished and reappeared moments later directly behind the Graen dreadnought. Stone's voice came over the comm. Transpositional drive functioning perfectly, Commander. We can jump anywhere in the solar system almost instantly. The Graen fleet scrambled to respond, but their formations were broken, their commanders confused by tactics they had never encountered. The smaller Earth vessels, equipped with technologies stripped from the captured Graen ships, engaged with precision and coordination. You should study your opponents more carefully, Tom told Krell as the battle unfolded. Humans have been preparing for this moment not for years but for generations. Every science fiction story, every space battle we imagined, they were all rehearsals for this day. Lisa had been working at her console during this exchange. She looked up with excitement. Commander, I've located it. The Graen command ship. It's hiding behind the dreadnought and I've found its weakness. The battle raged for hours across the solar system. The Graen, despite their numbers and experience, found themselves constantly outmaneuvered. The mothership would appear, strike, and vanish before they could respond effectively. Earth's defense platforms neutralized ship after ship without destroying them, leaving the alien crews alive but powerless. Finally, Tom gave the order they had been waiting for. Target the command ship. Precision strike on the coordinates Dr. Reed has identified. The mothership fired a single pulse that passed harmlessly through the dreadnought's shields, but struck the command ship at exactly the right point. The vessel's systems went dark immediately. Channel to High Commander Krell, Tom ordered. When the alien's face appeared again, the arrogance was gone. For the first time, the Graen leader looked uncertain. Your command ship has been disabled, Tom stated calmly. Your fleet is in disarray. We could destroy you all, but that's not our way. Instead, I invite you to meet, face to face, to discuss terms. Terms? Krell repeated as if the word was unfamiliar. Yes, High Commander. Not your surrender, and not ours. Something new, a genuine alliance. One based on mutual respect, not domination. 6 hours later, in a neutral meeting space aboard the International Space Station, the future of both species was decided. The Graen, unused to negotiating as equals, found themselves facing a united humanity that offered peace but would not accept subjugation. Your species is unexpected, Krell admitted as the treaty was finalized. In all our conquests, we have never encountered your combination of technological innovation and restraint. It's called humanity, Lisa explained. We fight when we must, but we prefer to build rather than destroy. As news of the treaty spread across the Graen alliance, other subjugated species took notice. Earth became a symbol of resistance, proof that the Graen could be challenged and defeated through ingenuity and courage. The mothership remained in orbit around Earth, a guardian and a reminder of what humanity could achieve when united. Commander Walker, standing once again on the observation deck, watched as the first diplomatic exchange vessels from both worlds prepared for departure. Do you think they'll honor the treaty? Stone asked, joining him at the viewport. They will, Tom replied confidently, because they know what happens if they don't. Lisa approached with a data tablet. The quantum communications network is online. We can now stay in contact with every human outpost in the solar system instantaneously. And beyond soon enough, Tom added. The stars are open to us now. The three stood in silence for a moment, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath them, blue, green and beautiful, the planet they had defended against impossible odds. They mocked our warnings, Tom said quietly, until they felt the roar of our mothership. Lisa smiled. And now the galaxy knows. Earth stands united. Earth stands strong, and Earth stands free. In the vast darkness of space, humanity had found its voice, and the stars themselves had listened.